Let's get it on.
Go!
Hello, friends, and welcome back to another episode of A Little Bit Woo. We are your hosts, Kirsty and Jemma, and today we are talking about the thing that I fucking dread the most: boundaries.
Is that because you have none?
I'm a little bit offended by that, actually.
I'm joking. And the only reason I say that is because you do just work and work and work. And I'm like, we need to set some boundaries here, Gemma. Because you're a workaholic.
Yes, I am. I am setting boundaries.
You are working on yourself and setting boundaries.
Setting boundaries. Yes, so we want to talk about boundaries this week. What is a boundary?
What is a boundary? So, I think boundaries apply in all aspects of life. It's basically just creating a line that people cannot step over, or you cannot step over, or
It's just basically another buzzword.
yeah, it is a buzzword, but I do think it's really important, especially when it comes to kind of everything, mental health and self-care and
Well-being, yeah.
well-being and consent with horses. There's boundaries there as well, so I think it, it's really frustrating, isn't it? Like we were saying on the weekend that you held, that like there doesn't seem enough words in the English language to be able to describe things, and they're almost getting exhausted with on social media. Words, I feel, are getting exhausted and really kind of negative connotations to them because they become a buzzword, but actually a boundary is a really important thing. Can we just make it a different word,
It's a
like
bit like what we said about
a hoobity
accountability.
doobity?
Accountability is not a negative thing.
Yeah.
Neither does boundaries. I think the word has been flipped about so much now that it's almost lost the essence of what it means.
Yeah, and it almost makes people a bit icky, doesn't it? They're like,
Oh,
ugh,
the word gives me the ick, I'm not gonna lie. You
boundaries.
need to set a boundary like that. Can we just let's just be real. Let's be straight. Instead of all setting boundaries, because it can be a flip.
Oh God, the finger's waving.
Oh fuck me. She's waving the finger. You can be the buzzword can also the narrative can be flipped for it to actually be quite a negative thing.
Yeah.
So and almost like the balance between selfless and selfish is where that lies. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because it's not self-care, mental health, boundaries. It's not a selfish act. It isn't selfish, but then it can also be made selfish.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Hmm.
And setting, yeah, I think that could be a podcast in itself.
I wanted to talk about it because I feel like I've really kind of been working on me in the last 12 months. And I'd say that I didn't have healthy boundaries before, especially when it came to work and especially when it came to people and clients.
Yeah.
And I think that really kind of took out of my energy cup every day. So I see it like I set off the day with 100%, and there's only so much you can give out to everything.
Yeah.
And I felt like I was giving a lot. People were taking it.
Yeah.
I wasn't giving it. It was being taken from me. Because people were overstepping boundaries. And I've been a lot stricter on my own working boundaries in the last 6 months, I'd say, and I feel a lot better for that.
Yeah.
It's almost like taking back your power a little bit as well. I almost got to the point where people would dictate to me like when and where and what I should be doing. And I was like, no, this is what I have to offer you. whether it be this is your appointment that I can offer you,
Yeah.
or if
Now
I've
that's a
got
boundary I'm really good at.
yeah. But I've made boundaries now. Maybe not this week. Maybe not a good week to be talking about because I have treated loads of horses this week. But that's I've made a compromise there. But I drew a boundary in that I was like, I'm not treating more than 4 horses a day, especially if they're new horses, because that really takes it out of me energetically, and I have to give a lot to the owner in that first session, especially if they don't know how I work. So it's almost the horse is quite emotionally dysregulated usually in the first session. The owner is as well, and then that takes away from me. So I think to set a boundary of, if the new clients, then I only treat 4 horses in a day, and don't feel sorry or try and squeeze even more in just to accommodate them. They can, at the end of the day, they can wait. Or if I deem it is really important, then I will maybe put on an extra day's work, but I have to be really clear on that boundary now.
Yeah. I also think that there's a big difference between self-employed and employed.
Mm.
It's something that I think we need to cover as well. So if you can imagine, like, say for example, just been on holiday, I put out again. It's the culture that we live in. This
Instant.
instant want it yesterday culture. So I put it out that I was away on holiday. I will not be responding to any work related messages until I get back.
Mm-hmm.
Now, as self-employed, that's something that you you get to a point in your career where you can put those boundaries in place, because you can be like, well,
I can go away for a week and people will still be there when I come back.
yeah,
Mm.
that takes a lot of inner strength as well,
Yeah.
which is a self-care boundary.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the line is, so for example, like, my phone didn't stop during while I was away on holiday. Now, I take accountability for that, because I have a work phone and I have a private phone, and I took the wrong phone on holiday with me. For I can't even think what the reason was, to be honest.
Podcasts.
Yeah.
Because you've got your Spotify on your business phone.
Yeah. Well, that's going to change. So if you can imagine, I'm on holiday and my phone's pinging off. And every time I'm just like, blooming heck, can people not just respect that? The difference is, the only person that has the responsibility for how I show up is myself. So in that moment, I was like, it was actually Mario that just went, well, you brought the wrong bloody phone, Gemma. If you need to have this time of self-care and relaxation, you brought the wrong phone. So yeah, accountability 101, I own that shit. But I didn't message any clients back.
No.
I refused to.
And it's really hard, isn't it? I find
hard.
I have it because I don't have a separate phone, and I find it really hard to not reply once they've messaged me. So
but I think that's a lot. It's a lot of that is to do with standards.
Yeah.
Like I know, and I know you know that I know you're the same. I have a really high standard that I keep myself accountable to. I think it's to do with my morals and my standards of how I want to work. I think it's almost like, if you don't get back to clients within a certain time frame, I think it's a bit rude. That you want to be seen as, professional, that you're accessible, but within that there is limitations. And I always look at it as, if someone, I do think it goes back to this being self-employed to employed. People that might not, that are in an employed place, they won't necessarily understand self-employed.
Yeah. So if you send an email if you're employed, then that person won't get that email till they come back off holiday. Whereas that drops onto our phone while we're sat on holiday. It's
Yeah,
the same
or
on a weekend and an evening, isn't it? I mean, I do tend to be doing writing reports on an evening, so it doesn't really matter to me if people do message me at that time. But it's more the just having the consideration that actually at 10 o'clock on a Sunday night I maybe
yeah,
shouldn't be replying to your message.
yeah.
I
But
might, I
and
will
it goes
because
two ways because the client shouldn't really be messaging you.
yeah, and I get it. That's kind of the time, especially with horsey people. That's the kind of time you come in and you sit down, and that's when you do have time to
Or
do a
you
bit of
do the
life admin,
oh
isn't
sugar,
it?
I'll just do this while it's
Yeah,
in my
yeah,
head.
yeah, 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 yeah. But yeah, but there are things that we could do as professionals in that have an automatic reply to say we've got an out of office. I found this time when I went away that I'd put a thing saying that I'd be away and I'd be back to work on whatever date. And I actually put, please will you respect this? And
Uh,
I actually
I
found
just did the same.
there was more people, well, less people contacted me. There's the odd few. Not everybody's on social media, are they? So
No.
we can't say, well, you should have seen that. It's not that they see everything, but
I think it's also really hard. I mean, in fact, I'll ask you the question. So, as people may or may not know, I wear a multitude of hats. And when you're
woolly ones, party ones,
flat caps,
flat
imagine
ones,
me in a flat
pointy
cap.
ones, riding ones. Carry on.
All right, anymore? All I've got is the image of the hat in Harry Potter.
I've just got
Gryffindor.
you with a party hat and with some rainbow streamers out the top.
All right. Oh, floss
You
my
wear
foot.
different hats.
Yeah, so I wash. You've done it again. She has this habit of trailing me off, and then I'm like, what was I saying? There you go. So, yes, I have a multitude of hats. And when you are self employed, but you own a business, you have multiple businesses, and then you have consultants, and then you have your clients, your personal clients, and then the clients of the actual business.
Mm.
It's a lot of weight on one set of shoulders.
Mm.
And what I always really struggle with is this accessibility nowadays is people can email you, text you, try and call you, WhatsApp,
Facebook
Facebook,
message.
Facebook Business Messenger.
Mm.
That's so difficult to keep up with.
Yeah.
And people don't understand. Like, a client might only see you for a couple of hours in that one session.
Mm.
They don't see the amount of admin
Oh yeah.
and organization that goes behind the scenes
Mm.
that takes up so much of your energetical bandwidth that isn't appreciated.
Yeah.
So how, like, I struggle with that, not only from a setting boundaries of how do I pull the resources down to make my life easier from being contactable, to then how do you switch off? Because, like you say, you're going to get the messages. I
Mm.
mean, one of the things that I do, obviously, I've got two phones. When you actually remember to bring your normal private phone, which I don't want to walk around looking like I'm a drug dealer, which I do. So another thing that I do is they've got you can get is it called digital wellness
Oh
on
yeah.
your phone?
Yes.
So having a cut-off point, and
Mm.
again, we're all guilty of it.
Yeah.
They're quite an addictive little bugger, aren't they, these things, really?
Yeah, well, that's the thing, isn't it? It's really tricky in this day and age to be able to have to separate it. Because, you know, I'll go for a little scroll on Facebook and then something will pop up and it's on my business page. Well, it's all linked together. So then you end up on your business page and then people will message you and you end up replying. And yeah, it's very, very difficult. But yeah, I've tried really hard to really set some clear boundaries. But I also think it's like boundaries in terms of, you know, this last week I've treated a lot of horses this week, and yesterday I ended up treating 6 and a dog, which I don't tend to do, in one day, which is a lot of horses for me to treat. And I know once upon a time I wouldn't have been able to do that, but I think energetically I've set boundaries as well. So when I'm treating now, that I'm not taking the energy of the horse on or of the client, because I think it's really easy to become a bit of a sponge for that and absorb the not negative as in like people are being negative, but there's negative energy in terms of that's stored up within people that you end up taking on board. And I do see that with a lot of professionals, that they're almost getting burnt out because they're not setting that energetic boundary either. And I think it's really unhealthy that you're not setting that. And I know that I was guilty of that. And you know, there's things that you can do in terms of setting those boundaries, grounding yourself a lot better.
Yeah, 1000%.
And yeah, like I could have treated 20 horses yesterday. I just felt so. I mean, I was completely in my flow and just absolutely loving what I was doing. But at no point I feel drained from what I was doing, because I feel like I was more of just kind of a channel for that rather than I was using my energy to treat. You get what I mean?
No,
And again,
exactly.
I think that comes back to kind of the work I've been doing on myself, that I'm learning to channel that rather than to give it, which I was quite impressed with myself yesterday.
Yeah, and I think a lot of us is, I'm sure a lot of professionals in the industry will be able to understand and agree with what I'm about to say. But you know, when we're there out working with the horses, whatever in whatever capacity, you're there as a counsellor
Mm,
as well as a helper and a mediator and everything else, and the strain that brings that upon you, you know, energetically on yourself, you do have to set that grounding rule of, you know,
this is what I'm here to do. Yes, I will advise you and help you, but actually I'm setting a boundary here because you're not basically plugging into me and downloading my energy.
yeah,
Zapping my energy out of me, because that's not fair. That's not what the pay is for.
no, no,
And it is really weird, isn't it? But I do, the more I'm delving into this, the more I'm like, no, that's you, and I can help you, but do not come and sap my energy out of me, because that's crossing my boundary.
yeah, and it goes on to like knowing your worth as well.
Mm.
You know, knowing your worth and your own self-respect to be like, no, I'm stopping it here now.
Yeah.
For me, one of the things is, and again, I guess for me, I've been in the industry long enough now, and I've built my reputation, and which I'm proud of, and I pride myself on, is knowing when to say no
Mhm.
in a healthy way,
Yeah.
and when to say,
Well, that is a boundary,
actually,
isn't it?
oh yeah,
Yeah.
actually, you're not the client for me.
Yeah.
Because, you know, we can't help everybody.
No. And we're not for everybody. That's
No.
also what I say. You know, I work in quite a different way to a lot of physios that are out there, and I'm not blowing my own trumpet. It's just the way that I've gone.
It's the way you've evolved.
It's the way I've evolved, and I aren't saying I'm better than anybody else, but I work in a very different way, and that isn't for everybody.
She's pretty magical.
um, and that's okay. But that comes down to each person's boundary then, doesn't it? So I have a boundary where I can say, actually, I don't think we're aligned in how we're thinking.
Yeah.
And by me working with you, if you're not in alignment with me, then that's going to be really draining on me. So that I need to set a boundary there. And likewise with a client, if they think that I'm not right for them, they also have that they can make that decision and say, you're not right for me or my horse, and that's absolutely fine. But we've set boundaries and I respect that. It's respecting each other's boundaries,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah.
And I think, again, we then go into respecting boundaries with your horse and with the horses that we're working with. Like, people say that the horse should respect you. Well, yeah, but it's a two-way conversation, isn't it? And we should respect their boundaries if they're setting a boundary, and they need to respect our boundary if we're setting a
It's just
boundary.
listening to each other, observing the behaviour, observing like little cues, isn't it?
Yeah,
If a
but
horse says no,
listen.
listen.
Yeah.
And this is the bit where I think boundaries can become a bit grey. When I was saying, like, at the beginning, that it's a bit buzzy and it can be
Mm.
misrepresented, that boundaries is not, it's not quite. I can think, like you say, you set a boundary, it can be misinterpreted as it being quite dominant.
Yeah.
So and it isn't, but again, it goes back to, where does it come from? The intention behind it.
I
Does it come
think,
from a place of
I don't
love?
know, what's just dropped into my head is like almost like a boundary needs to be see-through, that you can see through it and see what's beyond it, not a brick wall.
Love that.
See, that you can see through and you can communicate through that boundary, but you don't need to cross it. Whereas if it's a
Love
brick
that.
wall, you can't see beyond it.
Love that. I'm a little bit, what? Who the hell are you? Are you all right? She said she was on point this week.
Yeah. No, that literally just like dropped into my brain as
I always
that's
say,
kind
it's
of.
like, I said this to someone when I was working over in Germany one time, is that we should all create these not perfect, no one's perfect. We should create a bubble, a protective bubble around each other.
But that would be see-through, wouldn't it?
It's transparent.
Yeah.
It can be whatever colour. Mine is pink. It would be a little bit of glitter in there, because, I mean, why would you not?
Pink and sparkly.
Yeah. So, and I was trying to describe
Glinda.
this to. I'm not going to go there. I was going to go off on a tangent then, and I'm like, no, bring it back to a bubble, Gemma. So, yeah, I was describing this to this lady over in Germany who had a lot of walls, brick walls. And I was like, what you got to imagine is that you're in this bubble of love and peace and glitter, like mine is. And it's transparent. So people can see you and you can see them, and your bubble can be bigger and it can shrink. And sometimes you can let people slightly come into the bubble, as in it moves in, but the bubble still stays there.
Yes. So it's still the integrity of the bubble's there, but they can push into it and come closer to you. But they can't
pop the bubble.
I was going to say penetrate.
Fucking hell. Let's not penetrate your bubble.
Yeah, no, but they can't pop your bubble. Don't let people pop your bubble.
Don't let people burst your bloody bubble.
In hell.
Love that. Don't let people burst your bubble.
Yeah, but that must be where that phrase comes from, because it is literally somebody coming in and popping it, and then your boundaries have all gone then, haven't they?
Yeah. Let's not build brick walls, let's build bubbles. But then, your horse has a bubble too.
Yeah, and I think people really abuse that, especially with small things. Small dogs, small horses, maybe small people. But they really cross that boundary, I think, a lot more than they would with something that was could potentially hurt them more, I think, maybe.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's why, you know, to coin the phrase like little man syndrome is because people just abuse them boundaries, and don't kind of listen or watch for what's been communicated back to them
Yeah.
when there's a no, because they're small and aren't quite as capable of fighting back, which they shouldn't have to do. They have to shout louder, don't they? And that's why, you know, you get quite
Yes,
aggressive
a
little
push.
dogs and
One of the things that I was looking at recently is going back to a saying about pushback. Back in what episode is that? Well,
probably let them theory.
probably. Creating pushback and reaction.
Mm,
Reaction is not always a behaviour on another person, it's a response to the behaviour being put on that person.
yeah,
It's the same for a horse.
yeah. Yeah, they're just reacting to the situation, aren't they?
Yeah.
Mm. And
They
that's usually because people have
push the
crossed the
boundary,
boundaries. I mean, there's pushing
burst the
boundaries,
bubble.
like you said, there's pushing boundaries, so that's almost compressing in the bubble a little bit to just see where we can take that to. But I think when you cross that boundary is when that bubble bursts into it,
Yeah.
which is a
Yeah.
really nice kind of visual analogy for it because you can almost
Yeah,
imagine
but if
that kind
that's
of.
really good if you look at it from a training perspective.
Mm,
I don't believe we should, if we just look at it from a burst in the bubble,
mm,
I don't ever believe we should burst a horse's bubble when it comes to training.
no.
I don't agree with that at all.
But do you not think that's almost like you've blown the brain, like
Yeah,
burst in the bubble?
I do believe that we can, I don't want to say push the boundary because that can also be misinterpreted. We can, I'm trying to, like, you imagine if you've got a balloon and you just like pressing on the balloon to
Well,
see
it's
where the
gentle
movement,
pressure on it, isn't it?
yeah, to see
But
where
then
the
again,
movement,
it's one of them again, though, isn't it? Like pressure, buzzword. Like pressure, you can use pressure and it can be a good thing, but it just gets a negative connotation, doesn't it?
to me everything's pressure.
Yeah, I know,
Energy is pressure.
I know.
When you imply an intention or a thought, it's a vibration.
Yeah,
It's pressure.
I know. But
So
like we were
that
saying
could
about.
be a whole podcast in itself. Softness versus what is a. It goes back to the interpret. What is that interpretation
Mm,
of pressure?
mm,
So when it comes to boundaries, and like I'm extremely light in my pressure, I say in inverted commas. So it's like if I want to, you know, just put a little bit of talk, nice word, on the boundary or to allow for growth.
yes.
Because if we didn't have a conversation,
Mm.
none of us would actually grow.
No, and I find this really applicable to how I work with the horses when I'm
Yes,
treating.
agreed.
So I've just been out and treated your horse, Dolly, haven't I? And she's got lots of things going on,
Yeah,
physically, mentally, which, you know, and she's very quick, or she was. She wasn't so much today, but she can be very quick to just kind of vacate her brain and say, "I'm not open to a
yeah,
conversation." But for us to make progress with her body, we actually have to just kind of put a little bit of a pressure onto that boundary to say, can we just see if we can do this? Because actually, life beyond that could be better for you.
yeah, agreed.
And it's finding that really fine balance between putting the pressure on and saying, can we have this conversation? Are you open to thinking that we could maybe do this, then going, I am doing this to you, and completely pressing through that boundary.
Yeah, no
And to
bulldozering.
me, that's how I've really grown with how I work, because I have that balance between, can we do this? And I almost push to that threshold, not to the point of the bubble bursting, but of just, can we have this conversation?
Can I just add at this moment, having watched, being a bone therapist, which is obviously very myofascial, it's ridiculously light. And obviously, I do Reiki as well, which is even lighter. And having watched Kirsty work, and especially work with my horse, can I just put out there now, just to explain to people who might not know what you do or sim what you do, taking to threshold, it's an energetical exchange
Mm,
of I like the word talk, giving a bit of talk, feedback,
mm.
a bit of, just asking, putting the foot on the pedal every so slightly, like, can we?
But that's,
And I
to
just
me,
wanted to
that's,
make that clear
yeah,
because I
yeah,
don't want people misinterpreting what you're saying.
yeah,
You know, when you say taking it to threshold, it's in the most gentlest of
yeah. It's not to the point I'm
spectrum.
wanting a reaction.
No,
It's to the
you're just
point of I
asking a
get
question.
feedback into my hand,
Mhm.
not to the point of the horse explodes and runs off
Which
down the
also,
field.
which is what I love was when you know, I remember a post I put on social media. I need to go back and find it. We'll put it on on our page. And it says, "Energy is my first language. I know it more than words.
Yeah,
You might as well be who you are because your energy will tell me anyway."
yeah,
I love that
yes,
because to me, when you're working with horses, if you think you're light, go lighter.
yeah,
And to me, that goes from a bubble. If you think about, oh, I love this bubble analogy. You think about a balloon, right? And if you stretch the balloon, how thin that material is
yeah,
and how it's quite fragile.
yeah,
So when we're working with horses, think of the bubble, the
mm,
material of that bubble.
mm,
It's like fascia.
mm,
But if you go one out of the body, that energy is so like dynamic in forms of, I'm literally stood here like stroking my fingers. I'm trying to feeling that's the amount of energy. If you basically rub your fingers together in the lightest way possible,
yeah,
like if you're giving them a little tickle, you can train and work with a horse on that amount of, I hate to use the word pressure, but
yeah,
torque.
yeah,
That
yeah,
amount of torque,
yeah.
a little bit of torque on the gas.
But then it's also one of them, isn't it? That
She's now rubbing her fingers.
yeah, I know I'm rubbing my fingers to get the same thing. But as you've, like, if you went in with hard pressure on a balloon, you could pop it. But then if you work your way in really gently, you can apply more
More pressure,
pressure
and it doesn't pop.
and it doesn't pop. I feel like we've both just had an epiphany.
No, I think it's just.
Can you
Do you know
tell that
what?
we don't plan what we're going to say here?
No, but
I
this.
feel
Do
like I
you know
need a
what
glass
though?
of wine.
This is why we love our conversations, and this is why we want to do the podcast in the first place. Because if you put, I mean, we both agreed. I don't believe in agenda when it comes to working with horses, and having an. I don't believe that having an agenda. I mean, obviously, you want to have guidelines to work towards, but what I love about our talks is when we just dive into a conversation and it's just free flowing. These are the moments when we have absolute golden nuggets of epiphanies.
I just
But
wish
it's
we
not
filmed it,
necessarily
because our faces when we say things
we're
and
like,
we're like, has
oh.
that really just come out of
For
me?
how many we do this all the time, don't we? The amount of times we just go, we'll be sat, I don't know, out at a restaurant just chatting away, and then I'll come out with a gemmerism, as my clients call it, like, oh, she's gone off on a little tangent. She comes out with something, and then you get the look of like, where did that come from? And I'm like, I don't bloody know. Do you? Well, we know where it comes from.
It came from the universe. It
Thank
came
you.
from the 5D.
Yeah. Oh gosh. Should we? No, that's enough podcast. So I love the fact that it's when we have these conversations, all it is just going around what we're already thinking and knowing, but it's then putting it into a context that it's quite relevant.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I love that. We basically all need to get in our little bubbles and we can
But even like we were talking about, like our energy, like just kind of, I think we all just need to be more aware, don't we? Like we were saying about kind of reading energies, like, and you were saying the frequency can be felt and read, and actually people set the boundaries. Like it's one of them into like um if say if somebody got on a bus and you really didn't want them to sit next to you, you could turn your energy on that much that they wouldn't sit next to you, because you just create a really big bubble around you to be like, fuck off, don't sit next to me. But you can do that, can't you? And that is setting your energetic kind of boundary. But I think we're so, in the Western world, we're so dissociated from reading any of that. And even, same with the
we are
horses.
waking up slowly.
Yeah. That people do talk about, oh well, the energy in the room changed, so people do feel it. I just don't think that they're tapped into it. They're not tuned into it enough, because everything's so fast in this world, isn't it, that we just don't stop and think and listen and observe. But actually, yeah, I think we can make, like you were saying, make our bubbles bigger and smaller just by sending out that energy. We don't have to be verbal about it, or we don't have to take an action. You can just switch your energy on and off. It's maybe something to play back with.
Yeah, and I think it comes back to just having respect.
Yeah.
Mutual respect.
Mm.
Which is what we want with our horses.
Mm.
Where, I think that's something that is so important. Have respect for yourself. Have respect for your horse. And then how you have respect for each other. To me, that's what creates harmony. And again, going back to what I was saying, I don't. Sometimes boundaries can. The buzzword of it can be seen in a negative way, but it all boils down to just how much do you value yourself enough to value that other person. Oh, she did it again.
She played with my bubble.
Got lost in the game. Oh, we're just gonna go on full Britney.
We need to get Britney microphones. It's Britney, baby.
Yeah. It's a mutual exchange.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think that's
with humans and with horses and with any living being.
My guilty trait is that I'm over conscious of everybody else. Everybody else's feelings, everybody else's
a pleaser. Yeah.
But then being over conscious of other people, then that then oversteps your own personal boundary. And it's not a case of people pleasing this, like, per se. It's more being over aware of how they present, or being over aware of I think it's quite an empathic thing as well, of their responses, or being over aware of other people. But then you have to set your own boundary enough to be like, I'm aware of that, but I'm still gonna do me. And if they respect that, they'll allow it and they don't push. Don't really know what else to say. Yeah. So, tips on boundary setting.
I think you need to work out what your own boundaries are first. And I think you need to start applying them to everyday life in every respect, really. If you are going on holiday, then put especially to professionals and things, make sure that you've either put something out there to your clients or you have got an out of office on. Maybe have a separate phone, maybe have separate accounts, maybe put the time limiter thing on. You can actually, I found on on your apps on, I don't know if you can do it on iPhones, but on Android you can actually like pause apps, or you can have them only active at certain times.
Yeah.
So you could set boundaries in that respect in terms of like your work life. And then just with clients and things, like I was saying, especially working in what we do with like face to face with clients and with animals that are probably carrying quite negative energy. Lots of grounding practice. Even use things like crystals that can help with negative energy.
Oh yeah.
I mean, we can go down that rabbit hole at some point about different crystals. But I utilize crystals for that reason now. And again, I mean, it's all a collective, isn't it? I've used different things to set boundaries, but that's definitely, I think, played a part in it. And yeah, I think it's just about, you need to look after yourself first, and then actually looking after yourself, people respect you a lot more, and you show up better then, don't you? Because you're in a healthier state.
I'm not crying. I'm just
Snotting.
snotting. Yeah. No, I agree. Absolutely agree. And it's just respectful exchange.
Yeah,
Get
and
in your
let's
bubbles.
get in our bubbles, and don't build brick walls.
No, I don't think brick
And
walls
don't
are
knock
healthy.
people's brick walls down either. If they've got a brick wall, that might
Let
be
them,
what they need.
let them, let me.
Let them, let me.
Love that. Do you think we're done?
We're done.
I
My
love that.
boundaries are set.
My boundaries are set.
Let's go. My bubble is built.
My bubble is glistening with glitter. Don't be popping my bubble. Right. Well, thank you so much, as always, for listening to today's podcast. We'd love to hear from you if you have a comment.
And what colour your bubble is?
Yeah, or what do you do to set healthy boundaries? As always, feel free to like, subscribe, share, send our podcast to a little friendly friend and invite them along and see, yeah, do your thing. Let's keep building our little joyous woo community, and we will see you next week for another episode of A Little Bit Woo.
Woo woo!